I'm so excited. I have been looking for these half-size composition books for a long time, and I finally found them. And so today I'm going to take one of those and turn it into an interesting, unique sized art journal. So I was able to find these in Amazon, and I'll put the link below. Now, these half-size composition books measure 4 7/8 by 7 1/2. You're going to want to make sure the ones you buy are stitched, not glued. That's really key. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to turn this into something that you can use for your art journaling, and then I'm going to create a page with you. So as I said, they are stitched. You can go to the center and check. Now, the first step is you want to remove at least 30% to 50% of the pages. So go to the center and very carefully start ripping. At the beginning, it's pretty tight and you have to be extra careful, but as you remove the pages, it gets easier and easier to remove them. Remember, you don't want to rip that stitching because that's what's holding the book together. And here's why we want to remove the pages. Here are some full-size composition books. I've filled them up and look how thick they are. And this is where I've removed 30 to 50% of it. So you can see the reason why you want to remove the pages. But wait, those pages I ripped out. I'm going to cut off this, get a straight edge, and nothing's going to go to waste because I'm going to take those pages and put a cover on it from a gel print or a masterboard and create little notebooks that I can use. So again, nothing is going to waste. So let's get back to preparing this for it. So once we've ripped out the pages, you're going to notice the pages are fairly thin. So what I like to do, I start at the center and I'm putting a layer of glue, go around the edge and fill it in, do both sides. Here I'm using a glue stick from Staples, which is an office supply store in Canada. And then I'm just going to put them together, use my bone folder and get great adhesion, flip it over and use the bone folder again, making sure that everything sticks together. This gives a little bit more structure to the art journal. I've tried going on the single page. It's just too thin and flimsy for what I put into it. So I'm going to glue some of these pages together, bone folder, press. You can use a key card if that's what you have. And you're just going to progress. So I do the center one first, and then I do all the ones on the right side, and then all the ones on the left side, gluing them all together. Then once that's all done, I'm just going to stand the book up. I'm going to give this some time to completely dry before I go and to the next step in the preparation of this book. If you want to skip ahead about 5 minutes, 20 seconds, that's where I do the page. Now decide how you'll use it. Now, if I just used half of it, it's too small. I want to see some of that background. So if I have something in the middle, this is going to give me a lot of real estate to create interesting backgrounds where I can see them. So when it's open full page, it's going to be 15 inches by 4 7/8. And that is a size that I haven't worked on and I want to challenge myself. So here's the next step in the preparation. You're going to gesso the 2 pages that are glued together. You're going to gesso. So first I'm going to gesso the right side of the page, and then once that's dry, I'm going to come back and gesso the left side. And as you can see, I am using a key card, and this is the fastest way to gesso it. So you're going to gesso it, get a nice layer. You're not trying to really obliterate those lines, just knock it back a little bit. You're giving more substance to the page. Then you absolutely have to stop and dry the page to some degree before you move on. If you don't, the pages are going to stick together. Now, do you have to gesso it all and have everything ready? No, but that's just the way I roll. So here, all the right side pages are done. It's completely dried overnight. Then I'm just turning the book and I'm going to do the same thing with the other side of the page. As I was saying, the gesso gives again a little bit more structure and to the pages that are rather flimsy. It'll help blend the paint so the paint doesn't just soak into the paper. And I like to get this all done in 1 or 2 sittings, and then I don't have to dig out the gesso. So now let's do the first page. So I'm going to open it up. This is a double page spread. Now there is that line in the middle, and I don't want to end up having a focal image in there because it's going to add bulk. Now, because this is a composition book and I don't want it to bulk up so much, I am not going to add a lot of texture paste to it or doing that on every page. I want to build visual texture. And the first step is to lay down a coat of color. Now, what you see me doing here, I have dioxazine purple and a quinacridone violet, I think. It was kind of an off color, but I love how it blends. And I'm mixing this wet on wet in kind of what I call block and blend technique because I'm just kind of blocking out areas. I really have no idea. I just want an interesting base color layer. And because it's going on and you're seeing some of the markings from uh, the sponge, that also add some texture, visual texture to your page. And if you think this is a hot mess, remember, we're going to add layers, and layers is what mixed media and art journaling for me is all about. I'm coming back in. I can add more color if I want darker shades. Some of it's blending the purple with the pink, and that's giving me a different shade or hue. There is no wrong way to do this. So here I'm just kind of building up color, and then I'm going to give that a dry. So now we're going to start building those layers, and we're going to build layers by stamping and stenciling here. I'm not doing collage, and I'm not going to do modeling paste, but I am adding texture. Here, this is a sponge stamp, and I'm putting on, I believe this is white gesso. You could use white paint. I'm applying it with the makeup sponge, and I'm stamping. Because it's acrylic paint, it is adding a little bit of texture. Like if I hold it up on the side, where the paint is thicker, it's adding texture. So when you feel it, you do have some physical texture there. So and the reason I'm using white here is because this was fairly dark. I wanted to brighten it up a little bit. And this stamp, I bought it because I loved it, but it isn't something that I'm using a lot. So I want to use it. So I'm just going to add a few stamps here. Again, this is background. Everything that I put on top of it is going to push this back a little bit. And that's how you get that visual texture. So I'm quite happy with what I've got going on here right now. I'm a little nervous about how long this is from side to side, 15 inches. That's not a size art journaling that I've done. Now here I have another stamp and I'm putting on light blue permanent. And I'll admit, I'm not getting as much bang from this. I thought it would be a little bit brighter, a little bit more present. But I do add I like the swirls that this stamp is giving. And as you can see, I'm stamping over top of the white stamping that I did. That just pushes us back. So don't be afraid to overlap. That's what's going to make it interesting. So again, I'm applying the light blue permanent paint with the makeup sponge. And there's texture because it's the thick student body, medium bodied paint. Now I've grabbed a script stamp and instead of acrylic paint, I'm using my pit brush marker and putting that ink on there and stamping with that. Now I'm using my pit marker because I have them and I haven't used them. And it's really easy. I find I'm getting a darker stamp than I do with my archival ink pad. I don't know. Even when I re-ink it, I don't get a great thing. And this just is super easy. So you can use your archival ink pad. You can put black acrylic paint on like we did with the other stamping. And I really, really like the addition of the script in the black on this page. So I highly recommend a script stamp, a text stamp, something, a small scale stamp that you can add just a little bit. Now, I could have changed the order of the stamping, done the black one first, and then the blue, and then the white, and that would give a slightly different look because it's layered differently. Not better, not worse, just different. So explore that. So I'm just stamping, filling in the page. There's lots of real estate, just as much as a full-size composition book, both sides, right? Now I've put paper underneath to keep the paint and everything from getting on the empty pages. That's not a big deal because you can always get rid of it with a coat of gesso, but why look for more work? I'm drawing in between. Now I've grabbed some bubble wrap and I'm putting black on. I just want to add a little bit more black and another layer, pushing it back. And oh, I really love how this worked together. So while that white stamping was really stark when we put it on, now it's been pushed back and it's just hinting through. And oh, I love that. And it's nice to play with this different shape or size of substrate. So there's a close up of the yumminess in this background. I love creating backgrounds. Now I grabbed these butterflies and I have two of them. Now, typically we say we should have three, but I have two butterflies and I'm going to put a decent sized sentiment on there. So there's three parts to this focal image. So this came from my one sentiment pack and I'm just taking this part of the quote and I'm bubble cutting. And by that I mean I'm just leaving a little bit of white around the script. And I'm going to break apart the words so I can arrange them on my page. So there we have it. Fast forward, and I'm going to glue down the butterflies and the sentiment with my fluid matte medium. Put a coat under and on top. Now everything underneath here is completely dry and you're going to want to make sure that you take the time to dry it. I don't want to film me drying the page. It's a little boring to watch, but know that between every step I am drying it because I don't want it to smudge and smear. I'm really enjoying the challenge of working on this size and shape of art journal book. Now I have some black paint on my makeup sponge, so I'm just going to edge my page. This frames it, it sets it off. It's something that I have to do. I do it in different ways. Sometimes I use my floating acrylic shading technique. This works as well. I'm just working my way around. It's just giving that little bit of black around it, and it frames and finishes the page in my mind. Then I grab my fine line applicator bottle. This is white acrylic paint, Liquitex Basics, that I've watered down and then tested, it's trial and error to get the right consistency. And I'm just going to do some faux stitching all the way around. And this white shows up more because I did the black with the makeup sponge. It just kind of, they work together to make it stand out a little bit more. I'm loving this page. There, I see enough of that background that I work so hard to create. It isn't fully covered up by the focal image, which would happen if I just did only one side of the page. So this way I'm going to be able to see a lot of that background that I've developed, which I go back through my journals and I look for inspiration some days. So here I can see, oh, I like that stamp. I like this color combo. And there's enough background to do it. So here is the finished page. I realize this is going to be difficult to take a picture of it because you got to get further away because it is 15 inches across. Small price to pay. Loving the look of this. Excited about using this new art journal. So here are some close-ups of it. Until next time, go get creative and maybe give this size art journal a try. If you got to lose.